Hey, welcome to Sippers Social Club. I'm Jeremy, and today I'm counting down the top 5 over-watered whiskeys. Now, I'm going to bring to you some whiskeys that I think are good, have lots of potential, but are bottled at a strength that just doesn't necessarily fulfill what I'm looking for in a whiskey. And if they were bottled at a higher ABV, I believe that they would be something super, super good, maybe even approaching epic. So let's get at it with number 1. Alright, starting off with my first whiskey, number 5 on my list is the Glenmorangie Original. First had this when I started getting into Scotch. Nice delicate flavors, really nice citrus, tropical fruit notes in this. Great ex-bourbon maturation, but it's just so light, so delicate, decent for a beginner. But once you move past that, you're going to be looking for something more. I really think the 40% ABV hurts this whiskey a lot. This was bottled at a higher ABV. I think the potential is really, really high for this. Glenmorangie bottles some decent stuff. I'm not big into their core range because I just think it is a little too light in profile for my taste. Give me something this at 46%. Give me a cask strength 10-year-old. I think that would be phenomenal whiskey. So number 5 on my list is a Glenmorangie Original. Coming in at number 4 is the Basil Haydens 10-year-old. First got into Basil Haydens when I started drinking bourbon. Really remember liking it as a beginner's bourbon. Going back to this 10-year-old now, bottled at 40% ABV, I cannot believe how light in profile it is. I feel like Scotch whiskey can get away with a 40% expression way more so than a bourbon can. I think bourbon needs to be at least 45% ABV. Cannot believe how much this just tastes like bourbon-flavored water. Really disappointed with this. Now, if you look at the same mash bill as this, Old Granddad, bottled in bond, 100 proof. Really like this bourbon. Great value in this. I think this is bottled at 4 years old. You can take a look at the Old Granddad 114, another great expression. If you take the high ABV, the high proof of these, combine it with the age statement of Basil Haydens, I think you're going to get such a phenomenal bourbon, and it's really an injustice that this is bottled at 40% ABV. Give me 100 proof, give me 114 with an age statement like this on it. I think you're going to have something amazing that bourbon lovers will enjoy. Just not cutting it at 40% ABV, number 4 on the list. Number 3 on my list, going to a blended Scotch whiskey, is the Johnnie Walker Double Black. Owned by Diageo. You look at some of the other distilleries Diageo owns, Caol Ila, Talisker, Lagavulin. You can expect some of that in this bottle. 40% ABV, just leaving me wanting a little bit more. I do think this is a decent value buy, but I know how good those distilleries are at higher ABVs. Give me this at 46, give me this at 48. They do a cask strength version of the Johnnie Walker Blue Label. Give me a cask strength version of this. I think that would be something really, really good. Diageo could easily do it if they wanted to, a special release. Just 40% ABV, leaving me wanting more. Young Caol Ila, young Talisker, young Lagavulin. You look at those bottles, they are all really, really good. Give me that in a blend in this stuff. I think you're going to find something really nice. Just 40% ABV, not cutting it for the Johnnie Walker blends, in my opinion. Before moving on to my number 2 selection, I got an honorable mention. It's the Balvenie 21-year-old Portwood. I'm doing this as an honorable mention because it is bottled at 3 different strengths, 40%, 43, and a travel exclusive 47.6%. And I think that 47.6 is the absolute minimum this Scotch needs to be bottled at. The 40% is an absolute waste of good 21-year-old Scotch. Far too light in profile, in my opinion. The 43 does a little bit better, but you're still wanting so much more. And that 47.6 is non-chill filtered, where the other ones are chill filtered. Get that 40% off the shelf. The 43 can go as well. Only give us the 47.6. Don't make it as such a hard bottle to find in the travel retail market. I've yet to ever see one. I'm not sure how many people are finding this bottle, but I always see them on the secondary market for inflated prices. Get rid of the other stuff. It is honestly such a shame to be bottled at such a low ABV. Give me that 47.6. Give me a higher ABV even. This whiskey has the potential to be super, super epic at cask strength. I believe it should be bottled at a higher ABV because you're getting such a great profile. Balvenie does it very, very well. The finishing period, I believe it's ex-bourbon finished with a port for only about 18 months or so. Give me a little bit more port influence even. I love Balvenie stuff. I think this one could be epic proportions at a higher ABV. So yeah, 40%, 43, not cutting it. All right, coming in at my number 2 selection is the Highland Park 10-year-old. Absolutely love this whiskey, even though it's bottled at 40% ABV. Unfortunately, I think this has the potential to be discontinued. Highland Park coming out with a big core range of lots of non-age statement whiskeys. This one not in the US market. I believe Europe, Canada, other markets only. Really a good Scotch at 40% ABV. I like it that it's 10 years old. You get a little bit more of that peat influence that I love, but 40%, not cutting it. Give me this at least 46. A cask strength version of this could be epic proportions. I'm not alone on this. Some other reviewers score this thing a big mark. It's got lots of potential. It's good at 40%. It could be epic at a higher ABV. Really would love to see this one bottled higher, please. All right, number 1 on my list, it's the Macallan 18-year-old. Now, don't get me wrong. I love this bottle. I think Macallan 18 is a super amazing Scotch. Bottled at 43% ABV, but for the price you're paying for this bottle nowadays, upwards of $300 US, potentially more in other markets, I think the 43% is coming up very short. It does have decent viscosity. It does have good drinkability, but we all know that Macallan at higher ABVs perform very well. Check out my review of the old cask strength. That's an NAS whiskey, potentially 8 years old or so. At 18 years old, cask strength. I know it would be super expensive. Just take a look at the exceptional casks around this age and how much they go for. But at 46% ABV, only 3% more, I think you're gonna get so much more whiskey just with 3%. 48, bottle it like they bottle the Edition series. I mean, what epic potential this has at a higher ABV. Not knocking it at 43, but you're paying upwards of $300 US. You gotta get a little bit more out of the bottle than that, in my opinion. Macallan pricing their whiskey at secondary market value, doing a disservice to your customers. Make this higher ABV if you're charging so much money. So there it is. There's my list. Let me know what you guys think. Give me a bottle in the comments down below that you think has super potential, but just watered down way too much. Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to support the channel a little bit more, check out Patreon. You can win some epic samples. And as always, thanks so much for joining me. Cheers.